Welcome everyone to the Monday, February 2nd, 2026 meeting of the Village of Lansing Board of Trustees. I will call the meeting to order by taking a roll call. Susan Ainsley.
Present.
Carolyn Greenwald.
Here.
Pat Gillespie. Here. Kathleen Yen. And myself. Everyone's here. We're full. This next part of our meeting tonight is public comment period for anyone who would like to speak. There's no one in the chambers. If anyone online would like to speak about a topic that's not already on our agenda, please speak up.
I'm Lorraine Capagrossi, and I'm the liaison for the planning board tonight.
Hi, Lorraine. Someone's trying to get in. I can't see. Is that John? Okay. All right. Hi, John. We just started. Hearing that no one else, I will move to close the public comment period. Susan Ainsley seconds. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you. Next order of business is to approve our minutes. We have 3 sets of minutes, and I believe we all attended all 3 meetings so that we can pass them in a group. So that would be the draft minutes from January 5th, January 12th, and January 15th, 2026. I will move those draft minutes.
Second.
Carolyn seconds. Any discussion or concerns about the minutes?
No, just as corrected.
Things were found and yeah. All those in favor of approving the minutes, 3 sets of minutes, please say aye.
Aye.
And thanks, Jody. And I know Mike Scott also sent us the January 12th minutes. So thanks to both of you for the draft minutes. Okay, we have to wait a few minutes for the public hearing to start, our first public hearing to begin.
You want to jump ahead and waive late fees?
We could do that, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Can you explain the wait
Let me
fee?
get there.
Okay.
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 Okay, so we have 2 accounts that are requesting that we do a one-time waiver of late fees. Account M1686, it is a commercial account, and they had a very large late fees. Their water penalties were $1,740.20, and the sewer fees were $1,697.60. They've never been late before. This was a one-time thing, so they've asked that that be waived. I also have account N6419, who came in today and has requested a one-time. His daughter was supposed to make a payment while he was out of town, and she didn't. But he's never been late before either, and that's just $16.95.
Did the business give a reason?
Staffing.
What is it?
Staffing.
Staffing change didn't.
Internal things going on. Yeah.
Okay, yeah, that happens.
So, but they've never been late before, so.
Okay.
So I would suggest that you waive the October 2025 late fees for M1686 in the amount of $3,437.80, and the January late fees for account N6419 in the amount of $16.95.
I will move that. Susan seconds. All those in favor of waiving both of these late fees, please say aye. 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 Anyone against?
And the next one is account N4195. They had an issue with their outside spigot while they were away, and they had a very large water and sewer bill, and they're requesting that we waive the surcharge on their water bill. I explained to them that we've done that with people in the past. And I told them that, we still have to pay Bolton Point, so we wouldn't be able to waive that, but the trustees may waive the surcharge of the amount above their average water bill. So they still have to pay their normal bill, but
Okay.
it's also worth noting they've never been late on their account before either. So to waive the water surcharge would be in the amount of $285.89. and the sewer surcharge in the amount of 101.97, which is a total of 387.86.
And how is the surcharge different than late fee?
So your water bill is made of what Bolton Point charges and then our 70% surcharge. So the water still came through, but it didn't, Bolton Point's gonna make them pay for it.
It's our portion.
So it's just our portion as a courtesy to do for them because it, just
Yes,
ran into the yard or whatever, but it's up to you. You've done it in the past, so.
Yeah.
And
For-
they've never had.
They've never done.
They've never had, like I said,
It
they've
was-
never been late before. They're,
And it's been so cold.
Yeah.
And it's,
Yeah. True.
yeah, no, we should waive it.
I will move that waiving of the surcharge for that water bill.
Second.
Susan seconds. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Any nays? Okay. Those are done. And, okay, good. Thank you, Jody.
Mhm.
Okay, the next order of business is our first public hearing tonight for local law A 2026, amendment to the Village of Lansing Code sewer rents. And I will move that we open that. Susan seconds. Is there anyone online who would like to speak to this public hearing? There was no one in the chambers tonight. Seeing none and hearing none, I will move that we close the public hearing for local law A 2026, amendment to Village of Lansing Code sewer rents.
Second.
Kathleen seconds. All those in favor, say aye. Aye. So the next thing we have to do is to approve local law 1. Local law A becomes local law 1. So I will make that motion. Susan seconds, and I'm just going to read the purpose and intent of this for the records. It is the purpose and intent of proposed local law A of 2026, which is now going to become local law 1, to proportionally increase the sewer rents payable to the Village of Lansing for use of the Village of Cayuga Heights sewer system, consistent with the recent increase in Bolton Point water rate that has led to an increase in charges to the Village of Lansing. And more specifically, to amend accordingly, 1, subsection A of section 111-21, entitled Rents for Property Owners Connected with Village of Lansing Water System, of Article 2, entitled Sewer Rents of Chapter 111, entitled Sewers of the Village of Lansing Code, and 2, subsection A of section 111-22, entitled Rents for Property Owners Not Connected with Village of Lansing Water System, of Article 2, entitled Sewer Rents of Chapter 111, entitled Sewers of the Village of Lansing Code. So is there anyone here, or I'm sorry, online who would like to speak to this, I'm sorry, this resolution, jumping ahead. Is there any discussion about the resolution? Did you read through and, okay. The rate was raised to be equal to $1.78 per each 1,000 gallons of water. And the total, which is a total of that amount times 5, because 5,000 is the minimum, would be $8.90. And the quarterly rent charge for use of Village Cayuga Heights sewer system is equal to $9.48 for each 1,000. Proportion thereof used by such property owner with a minimum charge of $47.40. And the same rates apply for property owners who are not connected to the Village of Lansing sewer system, or water system, sorry. Not sewer. Okay, hearing none, I will move that we, all those in favor, please say aye for the resolution.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we got the resolution and the public hearing for the law. The second public hearing is for the approval of a cable television agreement between Spectrum Northeast LLC and the Village of Lansing. I will move that we open that public hearing.
Second.
Carolyn seconds. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Okay. For this public hearing, is there anyone online who would like to speak about this franchise agreement or the cable television agreement? Hearing none, I will move that we close the public hearing for the approval of the cable television agreement between Spectrum Northeast LLC and the Village of Lansing. Patrick seconds. All those in favor of closing it, say aye. Aye. And then we need to pass a resolution that basically, I guess, would be the beginning of the franchise agreement. Franchise agreement is between the Village of Lansing, New York, hereinafter referred to as the grantor, Spectrum Northeast LLC, locally known as Charter Communications, hereinafter referred to as the grantee.
That's the agreement, there's the resolution.
There is a resolution?
Yeah. Yep.
Changed out the board, remember?
To grant a cable TV franchise held by Spectrum Northeast LLC in the Village of Lansing, County of Tompkins, New York. Whereas an application has been duly made to the Board of Trustees of the Village of Lansing, County of Tompkins, New York, by Spectrum Northeast LLC, an indirect subsidiary of Charter Communications, Inc. This is the one you sent.
Oh, it was a separate document.
separate,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
A limited liability company organized and existing in good standing under the law of the state of Delaware, doing business at 815 Erie Boulevard East, Syracuse, New York, 13210, for the approval of a renewal agreement for Charter's cable TV franchise for 15 years, commencing with the date of approval by the Public Service Commission. Whereas a franchise renewal agreement should bring the franchise into conformity with certain provisions of the Federal Cable Communications Policy Act of 1984 as amended in certain court rulings, whereas a public hearing was held in the Village of Lansing, New York on February 2nd, 2026 at 7:36 p.m. And notice of that hearing was published in the Ithaca Journal on January 23rd, 2026. Now, therefore, the Board of Trustees of the Village of Lansing finds that Spectrum Northeast LLC has substantially complied with the material terms and conditions of its existing franchise and with applicable laws. And Spectrum Northeast LLC has the financial, legal, and technical ability to provide these services, facilities, and equipment as set forth in its proposal attached. And Spectrum Northeast LLC can reasonably meet the future cable-related community needs and interests, taking into account the cost of meeting with such needs and interests. Be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Lansing hereby grants the cable television franchise of Spectrum Northeast LLC and the Village of Lansing for 15 years, commencing with the date of approval by the Public Service Commission and expiring 15 years hence. Be it further resolved that the Board of Trustees of the Village of Lansing hereby confirms acceptance of this franchise renewal agreement. The end.
Thank you, Jody.
One more
Yes,
time.
I
He
know.
did that on purpose because he wanted you to.
I missed that middle part.
They were very specific, like you sent me
Yeah,
that
very
checklist
specific.
that was very specific about
What we had to do.
what we had to do. And it was in the paper, and I did get the affidavit published.
Thank you,
So we're
Jody.
good.
Is there any discussion about the resolution? I will move that we approve the resolution.
Second.
Susan seconds. All of those in favor, say aye. Aye. Thank you.
The foregoing having received a unanimous vote was thereby declared adopted. Done now.
Thank you, Jody. Yeah, okay. All right. That being done, and we took care of the waivers. The next topic for tonight is to consider the hiring of Michelle Palmer.
Nope. Consider setting a public hearing for comprehensive plan.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I had a note beside it and it didn't look like a new, I'm sorry. Yeah, we need to set a public hearing for the comprehensive plan. Our next meeting, the Monday night meeting will be March 2nd, since the 16th, the meeting on the 16th has been canceled. So I will move that. Carolyn, why don't you move it? That'd be better.
Okay, I move that we set a public hearing for the update of the comprehensive plan for our next Monday night meeting, which is March 2nd at 7:30.
7:35. I will second.
Thank you, Ronnie.
You're welcome.
I would suggest maybe that we put a draft up on the website.
Okay. Yeah, if you can
I'll send you-
send it, so I'd be sure
Make
it's
sure
for the
you have
right.
the latest and in PDF, so you can easily upload it.
I'm not sure I can do it tomorrow, but I might be able to do it the next day.
They have a whole month, so it's okay.
Yeah, they've got plenty of time.
Man, to Ronnie.
It only takes a second to do it, but I'm busy tomorrow. Okay. Okay. It's been moved and seconded. All those in favor of the public hearing, say aye. Aye. Good. Okay, now, consider hiring Michelle Palmer to administer the Climate Smart Communities Grant for the Uptown Craft Road Sidewalk Connectivity Project.
So last we spoke, we had found out about the services offered by Michelle Palmer to administer grants, and we had suggested that we should look around and talk to some people. So I set up a discussion with Michelle Palmer, and then I got in touch with NICOM, and they gave me the names of two other grant administrators. One is CT Mail Associates, and one is Jay Grasso. My first conversation was with Michelle. The benefits of working with Michelle, if we decide to hire a grant administrator, are that she's local, that she's worked with TG Miller before, that she has direct experience administering these type of grants, that her hourly rate is $130 an hour, which I'll explain later is tied, I mean, other people had the same rate for their lower associates, but not for the upper people in their management. And she's a woman-owned business, which we need for the grant.
Right.
Also, I also thought critically, when I spoke to the three people, and I'll tell you what each one said about this, when I said to her, you know, we tend to do things ourselves, and we have a very competent clerk, and I'm also fairly competent. If you tell me, if you make sure, tell me what to do, I can usually follow directions. And would you mind if we feel we can do something if we do it? She was the most receptive of all of the three people I spoke to that idea. You guys do what you want, and I'll support you, versus one person actually said to me, I'm kind of a control freak. So that would be a better match for our village. So I think Michelle is the best choice. I also spoke with, I'll tell you some things that, some of the things that she said to me was that she worked for the village of Conquia Heights on their culvert replacement grant, and she also worked on this type of grant for someplace in Mohawk Valley. She said that this is an easier grant to administer, but there are certain rules to follow, and she finds it easier than DOT grants. She pointed out that we don't need to do an RFP for professional services or exempt, but we do and should have this kind of conversation and justify, you know, our decision-making. We'll be assigned by a grant administrator sometime towards early spring, March, and if we hire a grant administrator, they would help us set up that initial contract, which is a crucial first step. There's a lot of things that you set out in that contract that then guide what you do later. So it's probably best if you're bringing a grant administrator on to bring them on before you do that contract, so they will help you with that. She had estimated her cost would be around $15,000. And that she would then, when she did the proposal, do a not to exceed. It's assuming that we stay within the parameters of what she's outlined in the proposal. Her hourly rate is $130 an hour. Another thing I liked about her is that she, in her previous life, she was a landscape architect. So that she brings a certain design perspective, not necessarily for sidewalk grants as important, but just that general vibe of understanding how architecture works, I think was another important bonus. Also, our grant administrator, if we hire the right person, will be able to nudge the state so that we can get our first meeting for that contract. But to get the final contract, just so we all are aware of the timeline here, we're gonna have to hold our horses, because we'll get that first contract. It will probably take 6 to 8 months to iron that contract out, so we won't be able to bid until then. So it is my recommendation that if we do decide to hire grant administrator, Michelle Palmer is the person. I also met with Jay Grasso, Scott Berto, and someone, another company. They did not even send us a proposal. I'm not sure why. Maybe they didn't think that we were serious about it, but, and then the final people I met with was Jim Thatcher and, from CT Mail Associates, and his associate was named Melanie. They actually seem pretty good, but his hourly rate is $230, and most of the work is done by a much younger person who does charge $125 per hour. They have no experience with climate smart community grants in particular. They have done other DEC grants, and they are fairly familiar with the grant system. They were the reason. They had said some things to me about the SFS system, which is why when I got off the phone with them, Ronnie, I said, can you just check and make sure that nothing has been uploaded? Because they said, yeah, no, you did.
So far.
That was just something that they said, you should log in and check.
Everyone's.
So then we did.
Okay.
I had got that from them. I think that if we hired any one of these 3 people, they would be super helpful. I just think that we have a local person who works closely already with people we work closely with. And that to me makes it kind of an easier choice, but I'm willing to answer any questions people have about the 3 different companies.
And
The
they,
one for me is ruled out because they didn't even respond.
Oh, yeah, of course,
So they're
right.
No response.
off the table for me.
Early no response could mean consistent no response. Exactly.
and I like the fact that they've worked with the engineer who's going to be on the project, so.
Mhm.
And I thought that the women-owned business
Yeah.
was a good box to tick too. So, and she's worked well with T.G. Miller. She's got lots of years of experience, and I was checking, she provided 38 different clients and grants that she had covered within her submittal. So she's got experience. So it's good. So I don't have a problem with it.
And Ron, you would ask the question about payment, which I then asked her. And she said that the way that we've submitted our grant, yes, professional services were included in the grant, and so
Yeah.
it would be appropriate.
Kathleen had said something that,
Yeah, and you said that also.
yeah, so it's great. Yeah, I suspected it, but it's always good question to ask. So,
So, and as far as what we have to commit to her, is she initially would like a retainer or some percentage of the not to exceed
And there is,
contractual rate?
Well, I do not see her asking for a retainer in her letter of agreement, so I would think that no.
Once we see her make a decision and see her contract.
It's right here. You have it.
If I may interject a little bit here.
hi, John.
I read the contract, and she's hourly. She's gonna bill hourly. There was no retainage that I could see in that contract. And I would recommend going with Michelle as well. She's worked, I think it was 13 or something years with T.G. Miller. She's very proficient with them. She's worked, and we need that WBE. I think that's going to equate to almost 10% of the contract. So that's a start. Her resume of all the grants that she administered were just phenomenal.
and the other thing I liked is the other part of the contract where you can use as many hours as you want. You're not obligated, and you can also add on as needed. So there was a lot of flexibility in the contract.
John said she worked 13 years. That would be 13.
So I'm going back to something you said earlier, that's no reflection on her, but it's a question. So with this is a match grant, but it's an after the fact, where we expend the money and then we request payment for services and costs and so forth. So can we go ahead and start this project safely?
I would say safely, no. You can start it, but it would not be safe.
Yeah,
So that's what I said, that we unfortunately have to hold our horses. So
That's
if
gonna
we were
push this
not,
project probably back.
correct, if we were not using the grant money, we'd be doing it now. The question is, do we want to save the villagers $500,000 by being less timely? And I think the answer is yes.
Yeah, okay. That's what I thought you meant. I just wanted to be sure.
That is what I meant, because John and I had talked about, he was going to bid right now.
Yeah, this was about the time he would.
Yeah, he's like, I'm ready to go. And I'm like, unfortunately, we'll save a lot of money if we don't.
And there's nothing within that grant, within their deadline for the project being done that would cause us problems if we wait a year to actually go out for the bids and start the project in a year. So how many years do we have to complete this project?
5 years.
5 years, okay, so we're good. Okay.
I would recommend that we rebudget this too, instead of trying to encumber it. Like Jody and I talked, we can't encumber it without a contract.
We don't have a contract.
So,
We have to rebudget.
Okay.
which is good, because that'll give us harder numbers. Last time we were scrambling around the same time that we were budgeting, we were working on the grant and trying to get numbers up. And I think we have better numbers now to put in the budget.
Thank you, John.
So we have really two separate questions. The first is, do we want to hire a grant administrator? And the second is, which grant administrator do we want to hire? I think, John, it's your advice was that we should hire a grant administrator, and I concur, especially if we have one that's willing to let us do as much as we want. There's nothing but upside to that for me, because we won't have to pay what we don't use.
Totally agree with that. I just think it's wise that we do the grant administrator.
I agree 100%.
Well, my input from this is just from my very early experiences with the SFS system, that if you do anything wrong, they're going to lock you, and you have to come back and start all over again. It's just a gut feel. The introductory materials are like 40 pages on things that could trip us up. And I think a grant administrator could become a navigator for that part of it. And it's basically what you were saying is, when we start this, really start it, that she would make sure that we do all the steps correctly, because everyone here has been involved in something where you think you're going the right direction and you find out within the project or contract that you did do one thing right, and you've got to go back and do it all over again. So I definitely recommend a grant administrator for this project.
So is that something we decide by just decision, or is there a vote? Should we vote on it, or what do we
You
do?
need to do a resolution to hire Michelle Palmer.
That's the second question, just the first one, just that we're going to have a grant administrator.
Yeah, because then you.
That's who it is.
You're hiring her.
That's who it is, okay. So fine, so then we'll move on to the second question then. Is there further discussion about which grant administrator we should hire?
I don't think so, not in mine. And we've got good input from you, and obviously TG Miller by third party, and John. So I think that she has experience in this and works well with TG Miller, which would be a good thing. So I will move a resolution that we hire Michelle Palmer from Templeton Landscape Architecture and Planning for our grant administrator per her submittal of, let's see.
I'll have to have Natalie read her, unless you've already read it, Natalie.
I've never seen that.
We should have you read the contract before Ronnie signs it.
Yeah. It's the second page.
I'll second, subject to approval by Natalie.
We'll have a discussion now about it. See if Natalie has a problem. And I guess if Natalie wants more time, we could always do this at our next meeting. So,
Or we could put it subject to Natalie's.
Yeah. Did you say she was gonna add a not to exceed? Oh, 15,000.
15,000.
But if the scope of the work changes, then theoretically the price could change.
Sure.
The not to exceed is within the terms that she's laid out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, she has the scope of the details and then it not to exceed. So if we ask her to do more that's outside of the scope, then obviously she could charge more. I don't think,
Services kind of like-
So, John, you've read it. Was there anything that struck you that we should include or exclude from the scope of work?
I thought it nailed it right down. It was pretty precise to the scope of the project.
Does she say how she, in what increments she bills time?
No, casually, I can't remember. One of them was like, if it's just a bit, I'll put it on the next month, but I actually don't even remember if that was her or not.
Like, does
I
she bill
thought-
like tenths or quarters?
I thought it was in conjunction with our board meetings. I thought she said in there she's gonna.
I mean, how does she quantify her time? So like, I bill my time by 6-minute increments. How does she contemplate her time?
I didn't ask for that.
It just might be worthwhile to ask and get in writing, because it make a big difference if it's
Okay,
15 minutes by 6 minutes.
okay.
That's the only thing that I'm coming up with.
So maybe you want to say that you're going to hire Michelle Palmer from Templeton to administer the Climate Smart grant for the Uptown and Craft Road Sidewalk Connectivity Project. And then, once you've had a chance to get that straightened out, then we can approve him
The contract.
signing the contract.
It does say in here under number 5, that she will submit monthly statements.
Yeah, but
Invoice.
how are they invoiced?
She's saying like lawyers bill every month, like 0.1, 0.01, 0.1 of an hour, 0.1 of an hour.
John, you're breaking up.
I said, I thought I saw tenths of an hour in there, but I wasn't. So that would be 6-minute increments, but I wasn't, I'd have to read it again.
I mean, it's a very minor detail. I just think it's something that should be in the contract.
Yeah, I'm not-
Why don't we make a resolution so that Ronnie can sign it, subject to her agreeing to bill in.
Or just telling us how she quantifies her bill
okay.
and including it in the contract. So yeah, you can hire her and then you can sign it at your business meeting until you get an
Right.
answer from her.
Yeah.
Easy enough. I'm just not seeing it.
I think that's a good idea that we do it subject, because Carolyn and I chatted about it. Once these DEC personnel are really busy, it's going to be hard to get that money. So we want to get her on board as soon as we can, so we can have her bug the DEC. If I remember that correctly, right? Wasn't that it, Carolyn?
Yeah. There's some, they turn their attention to other matters by April, so you want to really get their attention as soon as possible.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have a problem with whichever way she does it. I just think it should be listed out. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So the resolution would be to hire Michelle Palmer from Templeton Landscaping, Architecture and Planning for the 2026 DEC CSC grant related to the Lansing Uptown Road and Craft Road Sidewalk Connectivity Expansion Project, with the provision that we get clarification on how Michelle will bill us
In what hour
in
increments?
what hourly increments.
Sounds good.
We need a second.
I already seconded it.
Oh, did you? Okay. So, all those in favor, say aye. Good. Thank you. Thank you, Carolyn, for researching this, contacting everyone. Okay. The next topic for tonight is the CCE beautification grant.
I raised the issue of the beautification grant with the Greenway Committee, and they considered a couple of ideas. We proposed possibly having a pollinator garden. We proposed doing the clearing of the Trip Hammer Road of the invasive pears and also replacing the pears that we intentionally put on Trip Hammer Road before we really thought about how invasive they were. And we thought about doing the lights. Lynn was not keen on doing Christmas lights. She thinks that they create noise, more light pollution and issues with the pollinator garden. We think for this particular grant, because Kathleen was there and she read the grant criteria, it's really supposed to be on a public wayfare. And none of our parks are really, I mean, maybe the one Global Village, that area, but they're not really public facing enough to maybe be as good of a grant application as we'd like to produce. So the consensus was that we'd like to apply for the beautification grant, asking that we do removal of the invasive, what would you call the trees that are just kind of like, what are they called? The ones that just escape trees. What are they called?
I don't remember.
Invasive, invasive trees.
The ones that have escaped into the area near Taco Bell. What do you call escape trees?
Invasive.
Just invasive?
Invasive.
Just invasive. Okay, just invasive. Removing that and clearing that area. And then also, John, actually, I want to ask you about this. If we were going to put in some nice size ones on Trip Hammer, taking out the ones that we had intentionally planted, but are the pears that are no longer desirable, how many do you think we could do for $5,000?
10 trees.
But we also want to do the brush clearing as well, so maybe 8 or 6?
Yeah, I think we just get some estimates, but I think we just move forward with that particular project and scratch the other 2 off for now and get some estimates and stuff.
But with regard to applying for the grant for this purpose, would you have thoughts about that?
Grant's just 5,000.
Yeah. Well, it's actually a matching grant, so it's not even 5,000.
Right, 20.
I say we specifically just do the trees and not worry about the clearing. We might be able to have other that.
So if we do the grant, should we ask for replacement of 10 trees that we know now are invasive and have littered this, other areas of the village?
Yeah, that is correct. And if you look at the trees on the McDonald's side, they're already so high that they're in the power lines and they've already started NICEAG's already started to top the trees. So those are that area there is the one that I would recommend that we do.
In front of McDonald's?
So
Go
That
ahead.
is correct.
so it would be basically a tree replacement along the Trip Hammer corridor.
That is correct.
That's
Basically, Catherwood to Pyramid Drive.
So remove, replace.
Or actually, Graham Road West, I meant to say.
Yeah.
Drive. That's about 10 trees down there.
John, do you have a first choice replacement tree?
They need to be quite salt tolerant. I don't know, honey locusts they've always been a pretty good solid street tree, but there's some, I can't remember the species name, but it's the ones we planted north of the office, basically from the office drive north. I'd have to get that specific tree.
So I think that the ones that Lynn said were either Collimore oaks or red maples. Would either of those work in your mind?
I kind of tend to stay away from the columnar oaks because of the size of the leaves and the I don't know if this is the right term, but degradation of the leaves. They stay hardy all the way through the winter and they don't deteriorate. So they plug the catch basins up.
What about the red maple suggestion?
They're pretty good. They're a pretty solid tree as long as they get like a columnar. I think they have a columnar version or one that grows like a lollipop, big round top that keeps it off the vehicles when they pass by.
And there was a list with the tree law of, salt resistant, and an arborist or landscape architect could also give us some advice on the best options to plant there.
I would be mindful of the root expansion so it doesn't blow out the curb or the walk. Sometimes they do that, so maybe a more of a deep rooted rather than a shallow rooted tentacles that go out and heave the sidewalk and stuff. So I definitely could look into that. I know Dave Fernandez has a lot to. There's a lot of native trees to the area that do exceptionally well.
So the grant application is due on March 1st, which is a Sunday, so it's really due on February 27th. Lynn's out of town, and we kind of wanted her input in this, so we're going to have a Greenway Committee meeting on the 26th. So I was hoping to present a draft of the grant to the Greenway Committee on that day. So that's our deadline. If you tell me which tree Dave recommends to you, John, I'm hoping to write up something nice that talks about, what the pairs were, but then what they're doing now and how it's a problem and how we can beautify and also create a better habitat.
Yeah, definitely. I'll try to get a species of tree for you this week that fits the area.
Does that sound like something that people want to apply for?
Yes,
People
absolutely.
like that project idea?
Yeah.
That was what the Greenway Committee liked.
That's a good idea. And if these trees work well, it has been suggested that we try to replace trees down Trip Hammer at some point. So if these work well,
This is down Trip Hammer.
I thought it was at Graham Road West.
No, it's on Trip Hammer.
Oh, so, okay.
That's
Oh,
exactly what we're saying
okay,
about
I was
the
making
doing.
notes, okay, Trip Hammer, okay. I apologize.
Definitely a good pilot program.
Should do that, okay, all right. For some reason, I was thinking it was going down Graham Road, okay. Yeah, that's good, because we've been wanting to do that for quite some time, so that'd be great. Okay. Anything else, Carolyn, on that?
On that topic?
The NYSERDA,
Was that?
the NYSERDA. The clean energy grant for the pollinator garden.
Oh. That's a different topic, but do you want to talk about that right now?
Oh, I wasn't sure if you were gonna, because that came up at Greenway also, to use those funds for those projects.
Yeah. So eventually, when we have kind of, like we've been talking about this master park plan, this is a different topic, but for the parks, we had been talking about creating a pollinator garden and using the Climate Smart Community Grant for that pollinator garden. And that's something that the Greenway Committee still wants to do. We want to do it with an educational element. So inviting, let me go to my Greenway notes.
In both Cornell Cooperative Extension, the Beautification Brigade, and the Cornell professor.
Yeah, but what was the place that Lynn had talked about that she wanted? Pollinator. Wait, there's a group called, it's in my notes, I just wasn't prepared to talk
So
about it.
it's Cornell Cooperative Extension, Beautification Brigade, and
Oh, pollinator pathways. So, yeah, so if we do the pollinator garden, we'd like to pitch it sort of as a prototype garden. The Greenway Committee, and this is getting towards my Greenway report, but the Greenway Committee wants to do one pollinator garden at a time because they want to do it as a prototype and talk about the maintenance and see how it works. So they're not wanting to do, like, let's set them up in Marion Hardtown and other places right now. And then when we do prototype pollinator garden, have public outreach, invite cooperative extension, but also there's a group called Pollinator Pathways that Lynn's involved with, and they have a newsletter. And then also there's a Cornell professor who's a pollinator professor who also reached out. So there's a lot of avenues for public outreach once we have the established pollinator garden. John, on the pollinator garden that we have for Shannon Park, we made the changes to that, PDF proposed garden document that's ready for you or me if you want to, request bids from Dave. Can I send you the latest version? And it doesn't have the split rail fence, and it marks the bulbs and says, disturb, don't disturb, or relocate if you need to disturb some of them.
Yeah, I did see that. I think you sent
No, I
that.
didn't send it. I'm saying, can I send that to you?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm gonna send that to you. And then we can try to get some pricing for that installation. Send to John.
And then with the second ward, we have both of them already, the 3 memorial shade trees. And along with that, you can install the benches that we already have at Hart Hill Park.
I'm hesitant to install any more benches until we finish our park plan review, because I don't know where we would maybe want them placed until the Greenway Committee kind of like looks at that.
So you could hold off installing the
But the
benches
trees,
that are already here.
I would like to do the memorial shade trees.
Yeah, the place to put the benches would be near the shade trees.
That's
but,
true.
That's what I was thinking too.
But it wouldn't hurt to just get an estimate on that.
So let me put on the agenda for the next Greenway Committee meeting, which is the end of February, where specifically, if we're all in favor of putting these memorial shade trees, where specifically in Marion Hartel are they going to be planted?
And we'd need John's input also.
Get John's input, obviously.
John, do you have an opinion on that as of right now? If we do memorial trees, an oak for Don, and what did we say for Ann Fury?
Yeah.
I can't remember the tree that I picked out, but
I'd leave that up to the arborist also, or landscape architect, as to the best one, and John can get some input.
do you have a placement preference if we're doing it in Marion Hartel Park?
You and I kind of spoke about that, kind of in that front corridor of Hartel Park, the best.
Like in front of the soccer fields?
Yeah, to the north
Okay.
side of the soccer fields, there's a walk there or trail that goes up through there, somewhere in there, I think is.
Okay, so let me just get the approval of the Greenway Committee for that. That sounds perfectly good to me.
Sounds good.
Not the Greenway Committee. Let's get their input.
Yeah, we
Sorry.
need
Let me get their
input.
input.
Yeah, get their input.
I'd like to get their input because they have a lot of experience. Okay.
Next topic is to consider creating a commercial area advisory committee.
Back to me. Okay. We've been talking about this for a couple of months. I think we have, did you put a copy of that in here? The last one? I think that we've addressed most people's questions that they've raised. And I think that we should establish the committee and see how it goes. And the worst thing that happens is that it doesn't go. And the best thing that happens is that we revitalize and everybody's happy, living happily ever after.
I think it's a really good idea. It could fit in for a lot of things, hosting events and just getting the services we really need, opening communication for, issues and challenges that we're facing. So I think that's a great idea. And I think it's super important that it goes out to all of the business along the Trip Hammer commercial area, so that they have an opportunity to apply and participate.
Does anyone have any further comments on the Google form, on the application?
I tried to put something in, I don't know if it showed up, but it really addressed, and I think you
I made most of your changes.
edited it.
One I didn't make was like receive, like, the
Their
internal.
minimum
internal
number
stuff.
for the actual recommendation.
Oh, that we, no,
Yeah.
that I was happy with. Yeah, that was fine. I made all your changes, except I think you wanted something about like an internal, like when we received it and reviewed it, and I thought the form would be better, cleaner without that. But all your other suggestions I put in or took out. You had some things you wanted to take out.
It's the type of thing that once you start using it, as you go along, you may find ways of improving it. You really don't know until you start having people try it out and they can't do something or they ask a question.
Ask questions, right?
So it just has to kind of evolve, but it's a good start.
Good. So
Oh,
I guess I would move that we establish a commercial area advisory committee in accordance with the resolution.
second,
Carol moves, Kathleen seconds. I have no problem. So any other discussion about this?
As Carolyn says, we'll try,
Yep, give it a shot.
and if it doesn't work,
Okay, then all those in favor of approving the resolution to create a commercial area advisory committee, say aye.
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 And with the formation, with the form available for applications, I have at least one applicant who's, requested several times a copy of the application. Am I ready to distribute it?
Sure.
Sure.
and will this go on under civic, our civic engagement form that's on the
Oh, the
website? Is
public
it
engagement
to
form?
that? Because it's a new committee.
We should create a separate button for that.
That's what I was about to ask, because it's new, can you create a separate button?
Oh, yeah, it's just a button that will pop up the Google form when they click on it, so I can do
No,
that.
on the website,
Yeah,
yeah,
it'll be on the same level, it'll be right next to the public engagement,
great. Okay.
public service button, so yeah.
So if any of you want to invite somebody to apply, you can share the link to that, and
And we can write a small news item to put on the news side of it too, just in case people want to see what does that mean.
Okay.
To start, so,
great.
yeah, that won't take very long to do that. Okay. Okay, the next topic is budget assignments. So this, I guess, is a formal kickoff of this year's budget cycle. Jody, are we going to have a schedule by our next meeting for next Thursday? Okay. So the budget assignments, we have 4 areas. Water and sewer would be Kathleen and Patrick. DPW projects and equipment would be Carolyn and Susan. Recreation and beautification will be Carolyn and Kathleen. And for staffing would be me and Susan. So we will start this process. Yeah. There you go. And so just start the process. Patrick, I'm not sure you have participated in this. Basically, you will work with Jody and John to sort of see what our water and sewer budgets. It's not that intense, but you can ask questions. Jody and John usually come up with this on their own, but it's good to work with them to kind of understand what happens. So just listen and ask questions, and I'll leave it up to you and Kathleen to kind of coordinate when you're going to sit down with Jody and John and talk with them about it. And if there's something that they need from us, then, and you can't handle that by yourselves, then you can contact us, but you'll be the liaisons for that topic. So that's what it is. This is pretty much true for everything we do. The staff interviews we will schedule with people, and that's probably the most information intense sessions, but The DPW project and equipment can be a little bit. The recreation and beautification, Kathleen and Carolyn, obviously you're already in tune with that. So it's basically just including anything next year that is in the works. A lot of which we've already discussed tonight, but anything else on top of that you can think of? Okay, so the next topic is our general discussion. We'll go around the table. Patrick, do you have anything tonight? Carolyn?
Two items. The first is that I attended the town board meeting on behalf of the village. John, I wanted to point out, are you still there, John?
Yeah.
Did you know that the town DPW had tools stolen from ironworks and some of their trails?
They had tools stolen from where?
Ironwork? Is that the name of a trail?
Oh, I don't know about
I might
that.
have got the name of the trail wrong. From a rural location.
Yeah, and that's too bad. I did not hear that, no.
Yeah, so I just wanted you to be aware.
Okay, thank you. We're pretty secure.
So that was unfortunate to hear. There was a presentation from David Herrick on the estimates that they've gotten for the Lansing Trails from the Greenway Committee that I'm a part of. And as you guys are aware, the estimates are very high. And the town board didn't seem as in sync as I would like. If the Greenway Committee is going to be doing all of this work, I think it's putting the cart before the horse to not have the town board fully on board with what the projects are. And perhaps it was cost-based, but they didn't seem fully on board. And so the kind of question, I mean, we have so many Greenway meetings. I mean, we were meeting twice a month for a long time, and there's a lot of work that's gone into it. And I just, didn't feel like maybe things are going in the right direction, but that was just a feeling I got. The main thing that happened at this meeting was, do you guys remember when I went to the December meeting? I'm like, you guys, nothing happened. It was so short. Okay, this time, everything happened, and it was so long. And it's like, Carolyn, be careful what you wish for. So you guys remember that more than one person ran for town board, and one of the persons who lost for town board was a planning board alternate, and then a planning board position opened up, and they had 8 applicants. By the way, very jealous that they had 8 applicants for their planning board, and they wound up not hiring this person. And a lot of people in town were extremely distressed about the process, because they did this like divided interview process where you two would interview someone and you two, and then you two, but then people were late for their interviews, and then some people only got interviewed by one person. And so, but it was so hostile, and they were so aggressive towards the town board, trustees, are they called trustees? What are they called at the town? Just board members. This was really unfortunate.
Councilman.
It was very unfortunate to me how mean people were, because I was friendly with one of the people who was in support of them reviewing their process, but she was not at all hostile. But a lot of people were extremely hostile in a way that I found very upsetting, in terms of the people are trying to, perform a public service, and there's ways to say this process had flaws that is not so confrontational and angry. So I got what I wished for, and I regret it. I'm sorry. And so that was a town board meeting. That's your report. The other thing I want to tell you about is that I had a 3-hour meeting today with Kate Chesborough, who is the professor of the Cornell studio that is going to be doing the park project. And so I went with her and the students today to the parks, and it's just so great to get just her small comments that she makes. So I thought it was really interesting that she said one of the issues with Marion Hartel Park is that at the very beginning of Warren and Northwoods, there's that kind of very nice Northwood sign, which makes the whole thing seem like a gated community, private area. And so we really need to put something there that's like Village Park ahead. But like, I've driven past that a million times and I hadn't really thought about how.
We had to put that there. That was part of the whole agreement, that they had to be able to.
Right, I figured, but also maybe we could also put something there. Maybe it's not in front of their thing, but nearby. That, you know how sometimes there's those brown signs that are like carved out of wood?
An arrow.
Yeah, exactly. I think we need something there because the professor thought that it was a private neighborhood.
I thought that.
And she lived here in the village. She's a villager. And she's like, I didn't know I had access to that area. So that was a super interesting comment. So I think we're just gonna get a lot of super interesting feedback, even if their park designs wind up not being like perfect for us.
Budget item.
What's the budget?
Budget
item?
item. Park sign.
Oh, park signs. Yeah, okay. I didn't think about that. So that was interesting. She also asked, John, she asked about the, if you're at Phil Dankert Park, going towards the swim club, you have those power lines. She asked if we could possibly get a right-of-way walking easement under those power lines.
No, her and I had a lengthy discussion on it. That goes up to private property as well. They're the people that own the 1020 Craft Road. I can't remember their name, but there's a private land there as well. So there's just no way that NYSEG would allow that. And on top of that, you would have to get permission from Cornell.
Yeah, okay, it was just an interesting concept that I hadn't even thought about. Do we want a trail that goes up like that? She also said a really funny thing to me. She goes, can we talk about the elephant in the room? And I thought she was going to talk about the fact that if you want to put in sidewalks on the Big Heights Road, you have to build like stone bridges, which is just not going to happen budget-wise. She said the similar thing, though. She said, we need a bridge, a pedestrian bridge over Route 13 connecting on Warren Road. And I was like, that's the elephant in the room? That's funny. I didn't know that was the elephant in the room. But I mean, of course, in an ideal world, the village is very divided by a main artery. But I just kind of accepted that as the village is divided by an artery. It's too bad, but as Wade would say, too bad, so sad.
Sad about that, her and I did, and that's kind of was the whole concept behind Hartel Park was Don wanted a park on each side of 13, so we didn't have to connect pedestrian travel to the Philip Dankert Park. So now that's the concept behind it. There was two parks. So your millions of dollars for very few people is what that's going to cost.
Yeah, it's not gonna, it was funny that just the way she phrased it, I found it funny because it wasn't on my radar screen as the elephant in the room. So I just thought it was funny. Yeah, so I think we're gonna have some interesting ideas and some of them will be useful.
It's good.
That's it for me.
Good to hear. Thank you, Carol. Susan?
Youth services was canceled due to illness. The Tompkins County Council of Government is adding and subtracting committees. That was their organizational meeting. So let's see, I guess, just to be really clear, it sounds like there are a lot of redundancies within Tompkins County government. So what committees that were formed are no longer useful. Did you get that same?
The committees that were formed they just didn't produce anything. And it's not the TCOG, it's just they couldn't get good input that what they want to do is find a project that would benefit multiple, if not all of the communities, and they just couldn't come up with any. The Emergency Services Committee did come up with the rapid response program that the county has helped fund the pilot program of that. So, but the other projects were not quite so productive. The one I was on was related to energy, and we were looking at community choice aggregation. And what wound up happening is the town of Ithaca is putting together a community choice aggregation plan and program now. Once that's up and running, they will have a model that potentially other communities can join. And at that point, I know that you've been interested in this in the past, Carolyn. We can look at, can we join, what's required, what's really required and how effective it is. So basically, we're just kind of in a wait and see mode for them. So,
Yeah. So,
but
you know,
there was
being-
time to add new committees and they
Yeah,
decided.
so to be the new kid, you know, listening and getting, but Ronnie's got much more experience with this TCOG. Yeah, so there's work in progress. So we'll see. Bolton Point Engineering and Operations Committee meeting, those are always short and sweet. And it's just interesting, the detail, charts and graphs. We know where there's a water break, or they know. And so it's always interesting, and I always appreciate the technical side of it, that we said, oh, we've got water, you know. But in terms of working with our DPW crew, it's nice to know, well, it's good to know that they have good people out there who are willing to come and help, you know, across with all the water breaks. And you probably noticed all the water breaks over the weekend and how important it is just to clean out our street, what do we call them? Catch basins. As I was sort of stopped with Cuba Heights, they were cleaning out catch basins today. So thank you, John. And Personnel Committee meeting. And it was interesting to get back into personnel management in terms of hiring and firing and the resources that are available and training. And it kind of clicked back into oh, it's a union shop. And, you know, who's representing who, which of the employees, and who gets representation and not. And they're going through some reorganization, just communications, that sort of thing, improving situations there, because all of the employees have been there for a long time. And now there seems to be a need to add additional staff to support, because the manager, Steve Riddle, is it Steve Reed? They're finally having a deputy manager. So that's coming up, which is nice because if something should happen, there's somebody to lean on for the staff, because this is transition and succession planning, so I was pleased to see that, because we do need water as it's our source of income. So anyway, and then I covered the planning board and was pleased to see the progress that Chipotle is making. So they seem to be really just doing their due diligence and getting the plans and asking good questions, and they want to break ground.
Mike asked me to ask the Greenway Committee for their opinion on sidewalks, so I will do that.
Because there was a big discussion about sidewalks.
The Greenway Committee? Right, well, that's what I wrote to Mike. He asked me the day after our meeting, I said, we're not meeting till the end of February, I said, what do you want me to do? And he said, can you just email them?
Yeah.
He just emailed me that yesterday, so I.
Because they're on a tight deadline if they want to break ground this year.
Yeah.
But they don't have to if we can't make it happen.
Yeah, it would be helpful if we could, but Chris Fialo is working hard to try to get this done the right way. The thing with the sidewalks is not quite sure where we want. So it was a good discussion at the meeting. Nothing was, but if we have any way of providing them feedback with the Greenway Committee.
And my instinct is Trip Hammer Road. Is that not other people's instincts?
Tight.
It just seems too tight?
I was looking at it, yes,
I think by the Y and then that little
Yeah.
cut through to the senior, that makes the most sense. Because Chow's on the corner
right.
and there's no way we can get on down Trip Hammer, with the layout and stuff, so.
I agree. If anything, they should put a sidewalk on the Butler side up to the
Yes,
property
that was,
line. And then when they, uh, up the other piece of land, they can connect it over to the corner. There's really no place for people to go down past Chow because we don't have any curb cuts. And then there's a little stream, a regulated stream that's, goes down by the office. So it's very tough to get anybody up that way.
it doesn't look so tight, but if you drive it and look, it would.
So it sounds like it's unanimous, everyone here thinks Butler. I'm just looking at the picture. I can ask the Greenway Committee as well.
Butler's fine. I would like to see something on Trip Hammer as an alternate, just because it's
That's the
hard.
dream, walking down the.
It's hard, you have to cross Trip Hammer to walk on any sidewalk, and you've got to cross Trip Hammer without a crosswalk. So the first option I would think would be Butler, which would be a simple, short sidewalk, but the Trip Hammer side, if the rest of that property develops, maybe we can look at a sidewalk on the Trip Hammer side as part of that project.
I see, it's just the one parcel.
It's the parcel where the Asian kitchen
Yeah.
is right now.
So the property that's not connected by the sidewalk is Crystal Spa and Salon. If they had one that went north to the food net, that would put them to a regulatory crosswalk there, and then they could come back south rather than put a lengthy walk up to just Crystal Spa and Salon.
I think currently Chris has in his plans to have a sidewalk along Trip Hammer.
Yeah, I think that's what he was
I
thinking.
didn't see that really laid out in the plan to see what those dimensions would be like, but
That's what he
the
said.
space would be there.
But that's what he said.
Yes, yeah.
It wasn't on the plans,
No.
but our input is valuable. He'd probably do whatever we suggest, but if Trip Hammer's problematic, if more sidewalks are needed, that might be some sidewalks that for our sidewalk plan, it's something that we could install around Crystals that would help connect things, but.
Crystal's over there? It's all the way down there.
Yeah,
There's nothing there.
there's no sidewalk.
The sense of putting one on that side of this by Chow, then the whole point was to get parallel sidewalks up past Crystals up to the food net and the insurance agency. That was what everybody was inquiring about.
I mean, I like Trip Hammer because I just think that that's how you create a walk. But I don't want to be
But
contentious.
Chow's is problematic because I'm not sure where we would put a sidewalk. It would require some major soil work.
Right, and it's a
infrastructure.
huge drop in elevation.
Yeah. But it's something that we can consider down the road. So maybe for this project, it would be the Butler side.
Okay.
Nothing else?
Kathleen?
So Water Resources ended up not meeting on the 26th because of the snowstorm. So their meetings are usually the third Monday, except January and February. So it'll be February 23, March 16, April 22, May 18, et cetera, et cetera. Climate Smart Task Force, Pat and I met. We reviewed the task force description for the civic engagement forum, and Lynn weighed in, and I sent it to you. Thank you for the edits. So if that's okay, we could.
I haven't had a chance to read it.
No, I know, but when you have a chance.
I saw it came in, but I just.
It was literally right before this meeting, so. We talked about, we need to do an annual progress report that could be part of the web
Newsletter?
Do we have a deadline for the spring newsletter?
Yeah, we try to get it out, coordinated with our budget public hearing.
Okay, so March,
Towards the end of March.
end of March,
Yep.
okay. That helps. And then things we still need to do, the checklist.
Climate Smart, are you going for silver?
I'm sorry.
The Climate Smart Task Force, are you guys trying to get silver?
Right now, it was cleaning up some things from the old one. The long term would be to work toward that. So you have a choice. In 5 years, you can recertify at the bronze level. So really, it's whatever fits in best with the district. Now, the long-term planning would be taking the hazard mitigation plan, but incorporating long-term scenarios with a community adaptation and resilience plan. That would be the big thing. That involves your coalitions and a much wider geographic coordination with the county. So that's long-term. Short-term is more immediate things like the annual fleet inventory update, the annual greenhouse gas inventory update, and then a review of the plans and policies for sustainability elements.
We have to,
Yeah.
we have to maintain documentation and policies, processes, and every 5 years,
Right.
you have to go make sure you're up to date, and it's better to do it a little bit at a time rather than try to crunch it all in at the last year or so.
So the big thing this year really was the comprehensive plan update, which would then count toward the period we're in now. So that was the big thing in ensuring that the sustainability elements were addressed in that,
And they are,
and they are.
mostly thanks to you.
I mean, so that was basically the focus this year. Cuba Lake Watershed, January 28th. So at the joint meeting, I did ask for input into the draft they set the 2026 draft working plan and the priority elements. And then any input the village had for, another visit to meet with Roxanne and Isaac, the watershed manager, like they did, I think it was July 7th. So they're willing to do that again. So basically, the draft plan was approved and the priorities were approved. And I can go through that list if you want, but it's all in the packet that you received. There was a really good presentation, Biosolids and Operators Perspective, Alvin Montana, the second, who's the chief operator for Herkimer County Sewer District. And his slideshow, the presentation PowerPoint, that's in the packet, along with some of the background information. Dues invoices are coming, and at the July meeting, the progressive increase was explained. So if there are any questions, holler, but it should be coming soon. So in that packet, there was the series, the link to register for the DEC public webinar series, and there were 3 topics. And the links are all there if you're interested, right in the front page, so you don't have to go wading through the whole agenda packet. But like January 29th was a decade of progress on that PFAS and polyfluoroalkyl substances, but the focus was on the PFOA and PFOS, which are the most studied ones. And there's all the background information also on the DEC website. There was a Q&A. they will address everybody's questions that they didn't get to as well. Then February 4th, it's the PFAS in biosolids. And then February 11th, it's all part of the proposed rulemaking to regulate treatment of landfill leachate. And this, so in Governor Hochul's 2026 State of the State regarding water quality efforts to address contamination at landfills, would be to treat the leachate from the harmful contaminants right at the source before discharge. And because right now, the water sewage treatment plants are the passive recipients of everything that gets, that flows to them. Also, she talked about funding to help municipalities. And right now, DEC is developing draft regulations and to address the threat of PFAS. And the focus of that, the last presentation, was the rural background study that DEC was engaged in, treatment of how they would treat, the treatment for the leachate, and then the guidance that they're working on, and then sampling and drinking water cleanup policy. So it was a very huge overview, but they had the experts from all of the divisions in the DEC to address specific questions that came up in each area. So the links are there if you're interested. Okay. So right now, the Tompkins County, the legislatures set up their schedule for their advisory councils and their committees. So that's now on the website. Environmental Management Council, the next meeting's the 12th. And I've been going to the Legislative Issues Committee meetings as well, so.
Is that the NICOM?
No, this is the Environmental Management Council, one of their committees.
One of their committees. Okay.
Yeah. And all of these minutes and agendas and everything are on the county website.
What is the legislative issue of most prominence right now?
Or,
The Environmental Management Council.
so the most recent was the letter regarding the unique natural area for the Dryden Planning Board, and that's on the website.
Are they
And
taking
then-
a legislative stand with regard to data centers or anything like that?
Not at this point.
They
did, they were involved with the peak committee in terms of biosolids and requesting input on the DEC update of the DMM7. And so, yeah.
What's the unique natural area in Dryden? What's the uniqueness?
There's the swamp and the trillium. So it's what areas to protect in the development. There, you can't regulate a UNA, but you can make recommendations for siting and what are the benefits.
Thank you. A couple of topics. I was approached by Ruth Groff, the town supervisor. They're getting ready to write a noise ordinance, and I pointed her to our noise law within our document, and said she's welcome to use that. She asked if we wanted to be included in their law, like these could apply to us. And I said I didn't want to cause any confusion, that since we already have one, we should use ours. But they're willing, if they're willing to just take ours, verbatim, and he said, yes, but I said, we really didn't need to be included in theirs. So I found a couple of online resources for her related to noise measurement, and I found a definition. This was from Pennsylvania, called a sensitive receptor. And I was going, oh, okay. Sensitive receptor is it's an area that is sensitive to noise, like a park or a place of recreation or a quiet space for whatever reason. And you just identify those, and then you try to work your code so that those places are not impacted by development that would be noisy. So that's sort of that. So I helped her a little bit. The other topic is tomorrow I will be meeting with representatives from the village of Cayuga Heights and the town of Lansing here. John will be there to discuss the intermunicipal wastewater treatment and transportation agreement that we propose that we just stick with 2019. So we will be having a discussion about that. I don't know what will come out of it. This is just to kind of talk about it. Natalie's going to be there. The town attorney will be there, and I think the village of Cayuga Heights attorney. I'm not absolutely sure. So this is just kind
Is
of
that
a.
Alan or somebody else?
Alan's office, but I think Omar is covering for Alan.
So we will have that discussion. We're going to meet here from 1 to 3 tomorrow. Brett Cross will be joining us for the village of Cayuga Heights and us as the engineer, but he'll be doing that remotely since he's now in Florida. So that will happen tomorrow. So I might have something to report at our Thursday meeting.
Perfect.
Don't
And
really
it's
know.
in person. Thank you.
Yeah, it's going to be in person. If someone can't come due to whatever reason, but I have stressed every time I communicate with them, please be here in person so that we can make decisions quickly. But we might have 1 or 2 people remote. Brent for sure, but maybe 1 or 2 more. But we will start that discussion, and hopefully I'll have something to report. And if nothing changes, I think the villages is okay. There are things within it that probably should be changed, but if they're not changed, no one agrees to it, we can't get consensus, we will still be okay. So anyway, that's all for me tonight. And so I need a motion to adjourn.
So move.
Second? Pat seconds, okay, thank you. All those in favor? Thank you. That's at 8:57.